I know.
All right, boys, we're going. Evan, thanks for coming to the show, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Takes the gum out last second. Media trained guy right here. So how are you? Summer, first week. Life's good. Good weather.
So far.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, I've been home for about 2 weeks, and it's been nice, kind of chilled for a little bit, hung out with a few of my friends, my hockey friends, my non-hockey friends, just getting back to it, and then, hit the gym. So I'm enjoying it.
Did you go anywhere? You're a couple weeks off?
No, I was thinking about it, but, where my season finished so late again that if I would have went down south, it would have been, probably a lobster right now. So
yeah, that's fair. Oh yeah, you're a pale guy like me.
Yeah.
What kind of sunscreen are you using? 50, 34?
60. Yeah, 60, 65.
That's
on the
thick.
day.
That's real thick. You got to rub that in for a good 10 minutes.
I know nothing about sunscreens.
You don't wear sunscreen?
Look at me.
You're white though. You got to.
Must be nice.
I'm dark.
Yeah, whatever.
Naturally.
So the Memorial Cup just happened. You were a Memorial Cup champion. Did you have any flashbacks, I guess, from watching it on TV? Any memories that came back? I guess talk about that experience, because we just experienced it for the first time and we had a great time with it.
Yeah, I actually bought Memorial Cup tickets thinking I might be home for it. You don't really know. And then unfortunately, I was still in playoffs, so I didn't actually get to take any games in. But I was living through Hynum. Dobson was on my team last year, and then Aslan and Moran and Halifax. So I was talking to them fairly often about it. A couple of them reached out to me before, and it was pretty cool. I'm happy to see Dobson win again, and same with Hynum. So it's special. And just watching the lead up video, I remember going to the game, the final game, the championship in Regina. Yeah. And actually Dobby pulled it out, the video they make before every finals, and it's something that gives me chills, and just seeing a little clip of us in there, it was special. So brought back a lot of memories.
What do you think the key was for you guys winning that year? Obviously, everyone always says depth. I think that's how Rouen won this year. If you ask me, I think Guelph was the best team, most skilled at least, but I think Rouen had the most depth, and they were the most consistent. What do you think was the key to your guys' victory when you guys won that year?
Definitely depth, but going into it, no one really expected us to do well.
Same with Rouen.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We win the league, and then we're kind of we're the underdogs going into it. Everyone said Swift Current had a really good team, and Hamilton was extremely good. They actually beat us in the round robin, but we had a goal to win the first game. We won the first game, so then the pressure was off. We didn't have to worry about getting kicked out early.
Got to win the first one.
Exactly. And then we won the second game. It was a wild game. It was like 8-6. And we lost the third 3-2, I think.
To Hamilton?
Yeah, to Hamilton. But we had a 5-on. We had to lose by one goal or tie or win, obviously, to go to the finals for the bye.
Oh, yeah, the scoring system.
One of those weird scenarios.
So we're down 3-2 with a minute left. They take a penalty, and I stay in the net, so we don't have to, we don't give up the empty net goal. And a lot of people were questioning that, and then we had a couple of days off going into the finals, and from there we kind of just it was one game, anything can happen. Regina was a good team, playing the host, the fans aren't going to be on your side, but we came out, we played well, and
it was a great game.
It was
fun to watch.
It was special. We controlled the whole game, we had the puck the whole time. It was pretty cool.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I want to touch on, you said about being the underdog going into the tournament. I think that's what you said, into the tournament. It seems as though for the last few years, or maybe just forever, that the Q is always kind of the underdog, I guess. It's almost like nobody gives them a chance, yet they keep producing.
How many years in a row is it now?
Oh, man, they've been in the final for a while now.
2, and then Rouen was in the final a couple of years back, and
Moose has won in 2013.
Yeah, there's something to say there.
The Sea Dogs won a few times. It's crazy, I mean, we're always not really the favorite going into it, and I think the thing that benefits the Q is a lot of times it's a lot of like smaller cities, smaller towns who are winning, and the guys are forced to hang out with each other. So I know when I was in Sherbrooke, Sherbrooke's a bigger city, and I didn't see a lot of people. I've seen you have your little crew, and that's about it. But when I was in Bathurst, you're forced to do something, or else you're gonna go crazy. Yeah. So we'd all go to a movie, the whole team would show up. We go out to dinner, the whole team would show up. We had a great group of Maritimers and Quebec players who just clicked. We all got each other. There was no separation in the dressing room. So when you're just forced to be together, it's something good's going to happen out of it.
That's the theme. Every time someone that comes over here that's won on a national scale, or just any championship in general, it's just We're a team.
Yeah.
So in Sherbrooke, is it because everyone's so spread out all over the place, or is
Yeah,
it just,
when I was in Sherbrooke personally, I was living 20 minutes away from the rink, and 20 minutes from a lot of the guys, and everyone's in every which direction. So,
so it's tough.
yeah, it's tough. When you're in Bathurst, there's nothing to do.
Everyone's right there.
It's a great summer town in the winter. There's
hockey.
Exactly, it's hockey, and that's about it. You can't really go outside. It's freezing. You can't go. There's not a mall. There's not much. So.
It's not a mall.
Nah, that's
you got to order every clothes online.
Exactly.
Or
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's tough.
I can't order jeans or pants or anything online. I got to try them on. That must have been tough for you.
Oh, I mean,
hockey legs too. You got to try them on.
Exactly. I got lucky, but just I've had my sizes for a long time in the same build since I was about 14. So
is that good or bad? You're growing, or you're the same size?
I don't know.
So what are you, like 6'4", 6'5"?
6'3".
6'3".
Yeah.
On skates 6'5".
Yeah, on skates a little bit bigger. So
that's crazy.
I've always wanted to know this. I've never been drafted to the NHL, never drafted in general. And the level, when you're drafted to St. Louis, second overall, pressure comes with that. And when you're on a national scale like the Memorial Cup, I'm sure that there's a lot of people in your ear, this is just me thinking out loud. Maybe Martin Brodeur is giving you a call saying you played great last game. Here's what you need to do. Maybe it's your goalie coach saying you need to do this differently. Maybe it's your parents. Maybe it's, there's tons of people that are telling you what to do. How do you deal with that on that level, knowing that your future could very well be playing for the St. Louis Blues, and you obviously want to obtain that goal? Do you ever think about stuff like that? Or I know the common answer is no, I just play my game and things like that. But how do you deal with all that outside pressure, especially at a scale like a national scale like the Mem Cup?
Yeah, I had a great, or I still have a great support group. Between St. Louis, when Marty was there, I got a lot of good tips from him. And then with the goalie development guy, Dave Rogalski, he gives me a lot of good information. He's really in depth. He really loves his job. He's a goalie guru pretty much. Same with Dave Alexander, the goalie coach there. So, every time St. Louis gives you something, that's something you want to try to do every day in practice, every other day. You really want to focus on it. And, not all of it might work for you.
Yeah.
So you got to take a little bits and pieces that do work and put it together. And then, with my goalie coaches here, I worked with Brad McCharles for a long time. I worked with Dave Kenny based out of Moncton, and, a little bit with Jack Hardigan. They all have different philosophies, but everything comes together if you take just a little bit out of each person.
And then develop it into your own
put it into your own game.
Yeah.
And then, I used to watch a lot of video. And, lately I've been watching a lot of NHL, a lot of Binghamton, a lot of a lot of Cooper Rask, and, with the playoffs here in the Stanley Cup Finals, and a lot of Bobrovsky, and just seeing how they play and how different they all are, but how they manage to stop the puck. And, it's just trying to learn every day from whatever you can.
It's an interesting thing how he says the video aspect of it. Let's think about like Crosby's generation when he came into the NHL. He didn't have YouTube. He didn't have anything like TSN, like YouTube was just coming around, all that stuff. But like when you say you can watch any goalie anywhere in the world at any time and practice their, whatever you said, skill sets, that's a huge difference from 10 years ago. Just 10 years ago, guys didn't have video to go back to. Maybe they had game footage, but like actual highlights of goalies, like, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, that's going to help you a little bit because you can steal from everybody.
Well, yeah, and that's just the beauty of everyone having a camera in their hands, right? I mean, you could be watching a video that Joe Schmo took just because he was behind the glass at the game. You know what I mean? That could be what you're watching. Yeah. But what I wanted to touch on right quick was you said you work with the goalie coaches and you're doing goalie practice. I just want you to paint a picture a little bit of what like a session of that would be. Like, what would you do? I know there's like crease work and skating and stuff, but there's a lot of times where goalies just go out with the coach. So what kind of stuff are you guys doing out there?
Well, after every season, I try to identify what I can work on.
Mm-hmm.
So between that, we all, I talk to St. Louis. St. Louis talks to my goalie guys here, and then we all figure out a plan for the summer. And then it's you get out there and you execute every day. You got to bring your focus, number one,
for sure.
Every time you're on the ice, with whoever, you got to be always focused. Have some fun with it, obviously, but always focused. And then from there, it just, you start with footwork, and, I can do hours and hours of footwork before I even see a puck. So it as long as I like try to make everything as perfect as possible. Mm-hmm. And, I try to learn as much as possible too. So I do that. And then once I feel, I'm ready, then I start adding a shot, adding different options, different reads, different plays,
game scenarios,
exactly,
stuff like that.
A lot of game scenario stuff. A couple of drills that are almost impossible for the goalie to, make every single save, try to get a little battle into it. So there's a lot of stuff, you bring into it.
I like that visual. You saying things that are almost impossible. It's like, when the boys come down, when you're warming up, they're doing 2-on-0s and they do a backdoor pass. Obviously, you're not going to save it, right? So when you're in those scenarios, I guess if you can work on them and you fail all these times, that one time that you actually pull it off makes it all that work worth it, right?
Exactly, yeah. You might make one of those saves a year, so...
Yeah, and then you're on the highlight reel, though.
Exactly. No, it could be a game save, it could be anything, so,
For sure.
What's the NHL culture like, more specifically St. Louis Blues culture? Like, obviously they're doing something right in the Stanley Cup final. What do you think was the biggest difference from, junior to being a professional hockey player?
The way everyone prepares every day, the effort they put into their rink, they're always ready, they're always focused, they're always warming up, cooling down.
Yeah.
In junior you have the guys who are pretty serious about it and the guys who don't really care.
Yeah.
So
everyone that's there cares.
Exactly. Everyone that's there cares. It's their job. It's how they make money. It's how they live. They support their families. So, for me, I played in all 3 leagues this year. So I started off in the Coast. And the Coast was even a big step up from junior, the way people prepare. And
really?
Then you go to the AHL and you're like, holy crap, like the AHL is like the next, like it's pretty much the closest thing to NHL.
Well, give me an example of you were like, holy crap, from the East Coast to the AHL. Like, what's the one thing that you're like, wow, okay, this is a step up?
Just how crisp the practices were. Everything was tape to tape. Not many people were missing passes. Everything was, a pretty good shot. They definitely care more about the goalies and the way they warm up in the AHL, and then on toward the NHL.
Yeah.
You get a lot more long shots. It's more,
pads and
exactly. Where the Coast is, you walk into the slot and there's a corner bing. But the AHL was my first time there. It was pretty, it was just a little bit of an eye-opening experience. And then when in December I got to go up to St. Louis for a week.
Sick.
And then well, that was just something else, being around, Ryan O'Reilly, Tarasenko, Jake Allen, all those guys. You just see how they prepare and how, they're always in the gym. They're always working hard on the ice. I remember we finished practice. We did like a 30-minute optional practice. Everybody's out there. And then I ended up staying on the ice with Ryan O'Reilly, Tarasenko, Maroon for almost, 45, 50 minutes after practice, just doing stuff they wanted to do and what they want to work on. So
that's cool.
The great players really know how to bring it.
It's funny how the players that he mentioned, the best players on the team, are staying out 45 minutes after and working.
Best players.
That's
exactly why that's how they become the best players, right? Is it to the point where when you're doing the optional practice and then they want to do extra work, do they almost force you to stay out, or do they kind of give you the option?
I mean, I'm sure I can get off, but
right.
You don't want to get off in that situation. You want to be out there until you're the last person off.
Even if they score every shot.
Exactly.
You're like, I'll clean the ice. Give me the Zamboni. I'll stay here forever.
Well, Tarasenko wanted to take 10 shots, so I asked him if he wanted a goal. He said, sure, 10 goals. Right from the slot. I was like, yep, here we go. Ready to go, guys.
There's one of those impossible scenarios.
Yeah, exactly. I'm working on it.
So what do you do after practice and things like that? When you're up there with a new team, it's obviously a new environment for everybody that gets to go to the NHL. Obviously, you're a sponge looking at everybody, just trying to take it all in. What do you do after practice? Like dinner? Where do you go back to the hotel?
Yeah, I was... I didn't have a car when I was in St. Louis, so I was Ubering back to the hotel, or one of the guys would drop me off. My girlfriend was actually down visiting at the time. She flew into Tulsa, and then I got called up when she flew in. So she drove my car down to San Antonio, and then so I was in San Antonio for a week and a half, and then get called to St. Louis. So I had to book her a flight to St. Louis because she still had another 2 weeks left on her little trip down. So I got to go back with her a bit and enjoy it. We got the New Year's Eve. Actually, I was there for New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So we got to go out to dinner with all the guys at this really fancy restaurant. And
did you have to pay?
No.
Who paid for the bill?
It was already taken. It was already taken when I got there.
Did you get to take your girlfriend?
Yeah. All the wives and girlfriends were invited, and then
that's sweet.
A handful of us went out after to celebrate New Year's. So it was pretty cool, just the whole experience.
That's a good time of year to be up there too. Christmas, the team's already well established. You're either in a roll or you're in a funk. Oh wait, what was St. Louis at Christmas? They were last.
Yeah. When I got called up, they were dead last.
Wow.
And then when I got sent down, they jumped up. So.
We'll leave that one there.
No.
So what's the culture in the room? Obviously they're doing well. I guess I just asked that question. What was Binnington like? Obviously you've passed by him in the past couple of years. He's
a very confident guy.
Yeah.
Gamer. He's been really nice to me in the past, from my first training camp all the way to this year. He's definitely, I was lucky enough. I was in his group a few times. It was me, him, and I believe Alan.
Yeah.
So I got to share the net with him a bit and just learn from him. He definitely hasn't had the easiest route to the NHL.
No one does.
But
most people don't.
Yeah.
Exactly. But he's really ran with this opportunity here, and you know, I saw it last year in training camp. He looked really good, and even this year he was solid. I don't think he had the game he wanted to have. He went in for the third period. I think he let in a couple of goals, and then the next day or the day later he got sent down. But you know, he really showed in the AHL this year how he didn't belong, and you know, you look what he's doing now, and it's just something special. And you know, I'm definitely proud of what he's done. It's pretty cool, and it's, you know, something that I can try to go with in the future for myself.
Something you can see, right? Like, you know, because like I said just a couple seconds ago, it always seems to be, I'm not saying there's not players and forwards and defensemen that don't take hard routes, but it always just seems like the goalies are either like late bloomers, or they just, you know, that team has their goalie established, or just way less roster spots. Yeah. So it seems like the goalie route is just a little more stressful and a little more up and down. Now, you said Binnington got sent down, and was that when you got called up?
Yeah, so when
cool.
out of training camp, we both got sent down at the same time,
right.
San Antonio. And then, so he was up in St. Louis. He wasn't playing that much. He was up there probably for 2-3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Got sent down to play a couple of games in San Antonio, so I went up to fill his backup spot. And, you know, I knew it was a set date. I was going up there for about a week.
Right.
And then he got called back up. I think he started the next game later maybe, and had the shutout in Philly, and
he had a couple.
Went from there.
It's kind of like that Matt Murray scenario, you know what I mean? Like, the goalie's in the system, he's projected to be a good prospect. You give him the opportunity, and then bam, they just run with it. You know what I mean?
That's what I said in the intro here. I was talking about Binnington tonight, if he's going to crumble under the pressure. And I kind of thought yes, but then I thought, you know, if there's guys like Murray out there that are at the age of 25, 24, winning 2 Stanley Cups, why can't Binnington?
You're in the zone now. There's no unlocking it, right?
If you called him right now, do you think he'd pick up?
Not a chance.
Why? Yeah, you might.
No.
You'd be like, oh, this guy
Not
needs
today.
to know. Not today.
No, not today.
Not game 7.
It'd be the last day I'd call him.
You just know not to, right?
Yeah.
I bet his parents aren't even calling him. You stay away from him. You don't even talk to anybody during this time.
Well, goalies are a weird bunch too, right?
Oh yeah. What's your weird thing?
I mean, I kind of chilled out from my junior. My first year junior, I was really superstitious and really quiet, really, you know, trying to focus, like always, you know. Then as my career went along, I realized there's no point in doing all that. It's not going to make a difference. Yeah. And now I'm just at the point now, I'm just pretty relaxed. You know, I'm not the most vocal guy on game day, but, you know, I'm not afraid to talk either.
Cool.
I'm definitely just relax, and I just hang out, chill, go with it.
Hoyle said, or do you have something?
I was just going to ask him what some of your superstitions would be if you could remember them back then.
I wouldn't talk to anybody. I'd, you know, do a bunch of weird, quirky stuff, you know, and now it's just, you know, I kind of just go with the flow and, you know, ride the wave a little bit, because, you know, you go out there and, you know, the puck could take a weird bounce, Nick Stone's in the back of the net. So
you blame it on your superstition all of a sudden, and it's controlling
you mess
your game.
Up, and then exactly. So
I feel you.
You just go with it, you know, and just battle through everything.
Hoyle said I had to ask you about your 16-year-old year in Sherbrooke and some stories you have. You got to give us one or two.
Oh, that's right, because Hoyles was there.
Yeah, Hoyles was there.
I was actually thinking about Hoyles today when I was on my way here. Yeah, let's see. Hoyle stories.
Just even like team stories, just like something that happened when you were 16 there. He said there was a couple.
Yeah, our team was interesting. It was, you know, there's 4 or 5 of us English guys. It was me, myself, Hoyles, Chase Harwell, Cameron Darcy was another 20-year-old, and Trevor Stacey.
Okay.
And Hoyles and Stacey lived together, and you know, anyone who knows those guys, you know, they know what they're like. And
I know.
Yeah, there we go. So you know, we definitely had some good times, and I was very fortunate to have Hoyles as one of my 20-year-olds. Yeah. You know, he was definitely, you know, I thought he hated me at times. You know, he gave me such a hard time. You know, he bullied me so much, but he made me grow up so much in that short span of time I was there. It was, if I didn't have him, I don't know what it'd be like today, you know, just.
Yeah, you need those guys.
Exactly. You know, he might not be the best role model for everybody, but you just know what he's, you know, the way he handled everything with me, it was special. And, you know, there wasn't one day he gave me the easy route off, you know.
You want that at 16 though.
Oh yeah. You need one of those hard guys just always down in you, because you don't want to feel entitled. You know, you're 16, you feel like you're a hot shot, all this stuff. And you have him to bring you right back down to earth. And it was good for me, you know, and
especially him being like not the top dog on the team, you know what I mean? Like not the top player or anything like that. But what I was going to say was, I find in the hockey culture specifically, that tough love is how the players and teammates show like respect for the other person. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's tough to take, and I'm guilty of giving it a lot, or I was too. But that's just like, for some reason, that's just how it is. You know what I mean? The tougher they are on you, the more they like you for some reason, right? Obviously, there's that line you can cross, and you know for sure that he's just being disrespectful. But I just want to touch on that because I know that's the type of guy that Hoyles is.
I always liked that in a coach. For me, preferably, I always loved a coach that never gave you a night off. If you had a bad shift, he'd sit you. I've always liked that. Heinen was a perfect example of that in the Mem Cup.
Yeah.
Whenever he had a bad shift, you'd get sat, and then he'd come out and you'd respond. I don't know. I've always liked that.
You got to know your player, though, too, right? Especially these days.
Well, I think that's a good thing.
Some guys tick on like that, and some guys crumble like that, right? You got to know.
Is there anyone in your career that, every hockey player has that one person that really made you step up a level and turn you into a better goalie? Can you think of anyone on the top of your head that you can really thank for turning you into a second round draft pick of the St. Louis Blues?
Obviously my goalie coach is here. They helped develop me, all this stuff. But at the time, JF LeBay, he was my goalie coach my 16-year-old year and 17-year-old year in Sherbrooke.
Yeah.
And he was one of those coaches. He was extremely hard on me. Yeah. But when I played well, he'd acknowledge it. So, every game, every day, there was something I need to work on. I did something wrong, and you just step it up, blah, blah, blah. I'm playing bad.
Yeah.
But he always found a way to push me. And, I'm very thankful for having him at that age, 16, 17, and going into my draft year.
Mm-hmm. It's a big year.
Yeah.
He really, really helped me. And along with my GM, actually, who drafted me in Sherbrooke, Patrick Charbonneau.
Okay.
He got fired halfway through my 17-year-old year, but he believed in me from the start, which was key. Taking a goalie 4th overall is never, a safe bet in the queue.
You went 4th overall.
Yeah.
First round, buddy.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Exactly. So that was
that's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't expecting it, and then that happened, and he definitely took a gamble, especially seeing Pierre-Luc Dubois went 5th behind, and he's in the NHL right now. He's a regular. So it's
got to be cool looking back at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's cool, but at the same time, it's him putting a lot of confidence in me, and I'm very thankful for that.
Do you find that you said he believed in you? Do you find that that's a key component to success, is someone believing in you at the right time?
Yeah, I think so.
Timing is everything.
If you don't have someone believing in you and pushing you to be your best, then it's gonna be tough unless you really have that inner drive.
Right.
And I always want to be the best at what I can do, and that's what I want. But there's other guys, like I'll use my brother as an example. He's pretty laid back. Yeah. He's a very late bloomer. He played AA Bantam his first year, played AAA the next year, and got cut from midget AAA. They couldn't get another. Somehow they ended up with only one goalie on the team. I texted my mom, like, you should text the coach, just to see like if they have another goalie, and then they gave Lucas another shot. My brother's name's Lucas, and now from there, he was a 2nd round pick to Quebec. Got traded before he even got to training camp there to Shawinigan. Played in Shawinigan all his 17-year-old year. Then half the season this year, then got traded to Baie-Comeau and had very good stats in Baie-Comeau. So
he's in the queue right now.
He's in the queue right now. He's an 18-year-old in Baie-Comeau.
That's unreal.
Dudes, we got to start doing our research, man.
I did research. That just didn't come up.
That's crazy.
That's awesome. Good for him, man. You guys got some good goalie blood in there.
Exactly.
Is he back in Sackville right now?
Yeah. We're training together now at the gym.
Pro Edge? Cool.
Yeah, we have our first skate tomorrow.
What's the age difference?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. Okay, so you guys are still, basically right there.
Do you guys have that brotherly love together? Like you're always pushing each other?
Yeah, it's definitely me. I push him a lot. Yeah. I want, if I see him slacking, I'll let him know. If I see,
you need that,
he's doing well, I'll tell him good job. It's just, he definitely, sometimes he thinks I might not like him, but, I'm always pushing him. I always want him to be his best. So
sounds like Hoyles towards you.
It's easier to believe in somebody who's done it, though. You know what I mean? Like if you went through it and you know what you're talking about because you're experiencing it, right? So when you're looking up to somebody or you're talking to somebody or taking advice, it's much easier to go, okay, that's legit because he's doing it or he's living it or he's already lived it. You know what I mean? If you didn't do anything and you were just training with your brother to be a goalie, he'd be like, well, why is he so hard on me? He doesn't know,
Yeah, exactly.
What's the group over there like at Pro Edge? It seems like you got a hell of a resume they got over there with the guys you're training with.
Yeah.
Talk about the environment in there, like training with some of the best hockey players, if not the best hockey players in the Maritimes.
Yeah, it's extremely competitive.
I love hearing that.
Exactly.
I love hearing that.
It's the two Greens are there. Heinem, Sean Miller, Drake Batherson, Brendan Saunier, the list goes on and on. It's a very, very good group. And, you see, say Luke sets a times, everyone's trying to beat it. Yeah. And then so on, we we all want to be the best best there, and we want to be best in life. So
Yeah.
It's crazy, just how fortunate we all are to have such a good group. There's definitely guys out there who are training, they're the top dog at their gym. They're not really pushing themselves as much as they could. And, everyone's like pushing themselves to be the best.
Yeah.
So it's always, it's always a competition every day.
What are some things that you like to mix up when it comes to training? Like obviously going to the gym every day, it's all right, but I see sometimes you guys go to the beach, or sometimes you'll do something different. What's your favorite thing to do, like outside of the gym for training?
I like the beach.
Do you?
The beach is fun. You
shirt off, get the tan going.
Shirt off, try to burn a little bit.
Yeah.
Hard to think of it.
What'd you say?
work.
64 sunscreen on?
65.
65.
There
Sorry,
we go.
65.
Yeah, that's how you stay safe. But no, I like the beach. You do our workout. It's tough, running in the sand, doing whatever in the sand, and then after you get to cool off in the water, which is nice, and have a little beach day out of it.
Yeah.
So that's probably, the coolest thing. We do a lot of track and field too, a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Go to like SMU or something?
no, we'll just go to the one in Sackville there, Metropolitan.
Oh, yeah.
Right up by the arena there.
Yeah.
We used to have to run laps around it.
Oh, that's where junior high, that was our
The other place, yeah.
field day, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then we'll go to Citadel Hill every now and then too.
Ugh.
That's my least favorite.
I think that's everyone's least favorite.
I'm not a runner, so put me on a bike, I'm good. Start running.
You're a
Stationary
biker?
guy.
Oh yeah, huge
Yeah.
biker.
Sid trains on Citadel. Sid and Nate. They're always running up there.
Yeah, probably those guys run that place.
Yeah.
Well, they run the city. Oh yeah, I was supposed to ask you. Dobson said you led a bunch of goals in a practice, so you knew that question was coming. What's he
Yeah.
talking about?
I don't know, honestly, because from what I can recall, he might score once every 15 shots.
Oh,
Yeah, so
bad blood.
He was my roommate on the road when I was in Bathurst.
What's he like as a roommate?
He's a great kid.
Yeah.
He's very focused, very, very driven, extremely confident. He's not afraid to voice, how he feels about himself sometimes, but he's a great kid. I love him. He's a special player for sure. But he must be forgetting some stuff. He needs to come on, I guess, and defend himself, because
He does have to come on.
I don't recall him scoring that often.
We need him to elaborate on that.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think was going through his head while the whole city of Halifax was booing him all Memorial Cup? What do you think he was thinking?
He loved it.
Did he?
That's what he'd thrive off of. He definitely just soaked it in and thought everyone was cheering in the end. He loved it,
It's a certain type of guy, though, to be able to take an entire city booing him and like it.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Because if you notice, he still played 40 minutes. He still was dominant on the ice. It's not like it affected his play at all. People just thought it was gonna.
You're good when you can take all those boos and really just turn it on.
That's unreal.
You got to be a certain type of player.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to backtrack a little bit on you to when I read something today about your mom and you moving here from St. John's, as per, I don't know if it was a request or something, that I think that is his name Will Bray? Is that the guy from Newfoundland who is like his claim to fame is all the NHL guys? Is that a guy?
I'm trying to think.
That's
There's a Wally Bray.
Wally Bray,
There
that's
we go.
what it is. Yeah.
He was my when I was younger. He was my like spring hockey coach.
Okay.
And he really pushed me at that young age. I was doing sessions with my age group, then he'd let me go out with the age group above. So that was nice to have. I was on the ice 3 hours a day, which that's a lot when you look back at it, but I was just I was fortunate for that. And then so when I was Bantam age, I played my first year Bantam in Newfoundland, and I knew I either had to try to play midget as an underager or move away to try to get seen more.
Same thing what Hoyles did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my second year Bantam, or during my first year Bantam, I should say, coach here, he used to coach in Newbridge, Patty Flynn.
Yeah, I know Patty.
So he sent me a message on Facebook, and he pretty much just said, like, do you want to play better hockey? And I was 12 when I was like 13 years old.
Right.
I messaged back, of course, like, yeah, I want to play better. He's like, what are your goals? I'm like, well, I want to get drafted for the Q, and at the time I wanted to play for the All-State All-Canadians. He's like, well, I can make that happen if you come up here. So I told my mom about it, and she said, no, not a chance. Then he called her, and within one phone call, next you know, me and my mom are on the ferry over here, and my dad and my brother are still in Newfoundland there. So we had a little basement apartment in Sackville, just me and her, and she had to, she quit her job back home and got a new job up here. She didn't know if she was going to get one right away. She was thinking about going to work at Costco at one point, and she's a respiratory therapist. So
big difference.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
she was lucky enough to get a job pretty quick. And, you know, I'd have to walk to the rink, Sackville Stadium or Sackville Arena, or, you know, someone would have to come pick me up and drive me to games and so on and so forth. So, you know, I'm very, very, very thankful for what, you know, my family's done for myself and even my brother when he moved up here. You know, they give us a better chance at making it, just by moving, you know, that distance and
We'll talk about the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly.
For your kid, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like,
completely just question mark, you know what I mean? Pack your shit. And
people would call, you know, them crazy. Like, I'll never make it. I'm from Newfoundland, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, they're never going to make it in hockey, stuff like that. And then even my own family was saying it to my parents. And then,
really, you
know, here I am, you know, and I'm my first year pro. My brother's been in the queue now the last 2 years. So, you know, it's special.
And I think I read in the article as well that your dad and your brother, you guys didn't, obviously you've seen each other, but they didn't get here until like a year later or something like that.
Yeah, so they came up the following summer. I moved up in 2012. They moved up in 2013.
That's got to be tough because as a kid, you know what I mean? That's your, you know, your parents are your go-tos, right? I mean, for stuff like that, for hockey, for getting everywhere. And when you separate, I mean, as much as you might not remember how it felt, but that's crazy, man. Like I had chills reading the story just because that's a crazy sacrifice.
Exactly. You know, I'm just, like I said, I'm just thankful for everything they've done for me. You know, I can't ask any more than, you know, what they have. So every time I have a chance to give back to them, I do, no matter what it is.
It's got to be a little extra drive. So
I was going to say, when you know, exact same thing, when you're in the gym, when you're trying to push to be better, you just think about that, probably, you know, that ferry ride over to the mainland, you know, it's the big sacrifice.
Yeah. You want to be, you know, that makes you want to be successful because you feel like it doesn't add extra pressure, but like you don't want to let them down for, you know, what they've done for you. So
did your dad or mom play hockey at all, or
no?
Anybody in your family?
My uncle played a little bit of hockey, you know, back in Newfoundland, but you know, never at the highest levels. So, you know, it was just actually he's the one who got us into hockey. My parents weren't going to put us into hockey.
There's always somebody.
Exactly, and they said, "Oh, you should let him try it out." So I started like a year late. I was in kindergarten, grade 1 maybe.
Were you always a goalie from the get-go?
No, I had to learn how to skate first before I was allowed to be a goalie. And then I had to play my first year in novice as a forward or defense, whatever I wanted to be, before they'd even let me go in net. But I always wanted to be a goalie. So
why do you always want to be goalie? Where did that come from?
I wouldn't leave the defensive zone. I try to lay down, block shots. Like I'm like what 5, 6 years old, rolling around the ice trying to block shots. So I think my parents just got sick of it, of being embarrassed. You know, I wouldn't play down the other end to be 4-on-5. I'd be chilling next to the goalie, like, you know,
picking his brain.
Exactly. So they got me my first set of gear, and from there, you know, I loved every second of it.
That's a funny story.
You do have to love it for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To be the guy that, you know, willingly takes those pucks and is the last line of D and stuff. I don't need to remind you of any of that stuff.
So what's the feeling that goes through your body when you're drafted second overall by the St. Louis Blues? You get up on that stage. Did you shake Gary Bettman's hand, all that stuff?
No, I was second round.
Second round.
That's what I said, second round.
You said second overall.
Sorry, second round. Yeah, second round. My head's spinning here. It's hot. Dehydrated.
Yeah.
What's that feeling going up on the stage, shaking hands and knowing that you're going to, you know, an organization like that?
Yeah, you know, well, so the first round's the night before, and you're there. Yeah, I know I'm not going to go in the first round. Not many goalies do.
Yeah.
You know, when you're kind of projected to go.
Where were you projected to go?
I was the first goalie ranked.
64th, I think.
Yeah, I ended up going 59. So, you know, I no goalies really started going. I think Carter Hart went 49, maybe.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that area, and then. Next, you know, a couple picks later, another guy goes, and another guy, and then I go like a pick later.
Yeah.
So 4 of us went like 10 picks.
Wow.
So you kind of know, and then there's another goalie who went like 2 picks after me. So
it's like the area where they get taken.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know,
don't want to leave them either.
All
right?
it takes is one guy to go, and then they all start going. So yeah. So like I kind of knew like, okay, my time's coming soon. Whether like I had a feeling that. I didn't think St. Louis was going to pick me. They were my first interview at the combine. I was nervous. I was, you know.
I want to ask you about the interview after you answer this question.
Okay, yeah. So they were my first interview. Blah blah blah. You know, it went okay. I didn't think it went great. And then, you know, I really felt like Chicago might have picked me. I had a really good interview with them. Talked to them a lot throughout the year. They had 3 picks in the second round, like 51 to 60 or something like that. They had like 3 picks. They ended up picking 3 players. So then I think. I had a couple of good interviews. I knew there's a few teams looking for goalies. So, you know, goalies start getting picked, and I'm like, okay, like it might happen. Then the team I can't remember now which team it was right in front, and they picked a forward, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm not going to go yet. It'll probably fall to the 3rd round.
Yeah.
And then, then Marty Brodeur goes on the mic and said from Sherbrooke, and I'm like, oh, that's me, I guess. There's no one else here. And then, they call me, and then from there, it's almost like I blacked out. I hugged my mom, hugged my dad. My agent was there, shook his hand, then walked down. Then JF LeBay, who I mentioned earlier, was sitting down 2 rows in front of me. He's with the Anaheim Ducks organization now. So he gave me a big hug. Like, his little kid was there. He gave me a big hug and went down and shook everyone's hand, then went around the table, and Marty Brodeur was the last person's hand I shook. And he said, congratulations, Walker. I was like starstruck. I'm like, I watched you growing up. Like,
that's what you said to him?
Yeah. And then he's like, well, I watched you a lot this year. I was like, whoa.
Oh shit.
So that was I was like starstruck. I was like, holy.
How sick is it that the guy that called your name is going to go down as one of the best goalies of all time, I think, ever. He called your name and drafted you to the NHL.
Well, that's the point where he probably blacked out.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy.
Once the word Sherbrooke came out, he was like,
yeah, it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. Just getting to meet him was a privilege.
What's he like as a guy?
Great guy. You wouldn't think he's who he is. He's just, so down to earth, and he's always open to suggestion, like giving you suggestions, I should say. But he's also like, you have just normal conversation with him. You see him at the rink, he walks, he strolls in, he's like, good morning. I'm like, good morning. How's it going?
He just talked to me again.
Yeah. So no, it was pretty cool. You never get used to being around people like of that stature, but at the same time, you get more comfortable.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say he was going to try to convince you to join Enterprise or something like that. I thought he was trying to pitch
Those commercials are funny though.
Oh, they're hilarious. When he has the cups in the back and he has the French accent going, they're hilarious.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Did you have a question?
Nope.
I want to know about the interview process. I hear that they use trickery to try to trick you into saying things. Does your agent prep you before these meetings, and what are some I guess little bits of advice that your agent would give you before going into these meetings with NHL teams?
Yeah, we prepped for about a month before.
Before.
Like the combine, you have all the meetings, of course, and then you have the 2 days of training at the end, or fitness testing. Did you
do that? Because I know you did do it. Okay,
yeah. So you do all the meetings, and they're pretty nerve-wracking. There's a lot of questions that we practiced that weren't normal questions. We tried to he tried to trick me with, whatever, trying to sewer somebody, this, that. And San Jose, actually, I played with Jeremy Waugh in Sherbrooke, and he was a San Jose draft pick, and he was hurt a bit, and he didn't play a lot my draft year. So they're asking me a lot of questions about him. So I'm sitting there like, okay, like, is this a Jeremy Waugh interview, or, what's going on? And looking back on it, I just said, he's a great guy, blah, 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 like talent, it works hard, blah, 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 the typical stuff. And looking back on it, that was a little bit of a trick question there in itself, it's asking you about someone else and trying to see what my response would be.
Why, they were trying to get you to talk shit about it?
Yeah, I think so. They're trying to just push you down a different, a road to see what you'd say.
Okay. It's kind of like
if you didn't like the guy, you liked the guy, stuff like that. And
media does that, right? It's almost like training for that.
Yeah. So
yeah, I see what you're saying.
There's a lot of stuff like that, a lot of questions that weren't even hockey related. I know there was one guy who just completely grilled me for about 30 minutes straight, just saying you're bad, you had these bad stats, this, that with one, I can't remember which team it was now. And he went in so in 5 games this year, you let in a goal in the first minute. What happened? I'm like,
so what did you say?
Well, I can't even remember the time. I just tried to, it happens. I battle back.
I'm a goalie. I get scored on.
Stuff like that. It was, it's tough. They want to see what
mental toughness.
Yeah, what mental toughness you have, what you bring to the table,
what kind of teammate you are.
Exactly, what type of teammate. They know how you play. They just want to see your personality and what type of character you have.
So you're going into a business, right? You're going to be representing that team at some point. They don't want just some dickhead, right?
It is true that half of the NHL, don't get me wrong, it's the game, but the other half is the media side. If you look now at the NHL more than ever, everything's behind the scenes. Everything's what kind of person you are. Mm-hmm. Everything is marketed to sell something. It's such a business, but it's a game, but it's such a business.
But what people forget to realize is they're professional athletes, and that's what they're idolized as, but they're still humans. You know what I mean? People are still going to make mistakes,
I agree.
But that's not how they portray it, right? I get what you're saying.
People look up to you just as almost not human, just as an idol. Think about it. Not hockey fans, just sport fans in general. They look at these people, professional athletes, as just idols.
That's what I read. I think somebody said that on Twitter because it was in reference to when KD went down and everyone cheered. So that's some guy said that, you know, people have to remember, like they're idolized as superheroes and athletes, not as humans, right?
I said that in the intro when they booed. Like, the first thing you're gonna do is, if you're a Toronto fan, is you're obviously gonna be happy because the best player on the other team went down. It's your reaction to go, yes.
The way I look at it is I just assumed that everyone thought it was the injury that he had originally, and he tried to battle through to come back for. So then you're cheering because, like, why would you come back?
Yeah.
But then it was something different.
You a basketball fan?
I am, yeah. I watched a lot of the Raptors, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty cool what they're doing, and you know, it's funny how, you know, the whole, you know, everyone portrays Canada as, you know, a hockey place, hockey country,
for sure.
But you know, all of Canada is behind them. You know, Toronto's about to explode.
Yeah.
You know, if they, you know, when they win, it's going to be, you know, party there for a few days. You go downtown Halifax, you see the
Rogers Square.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's crazy. I walked
10,000 people.
Exactly. I walked by it the other night. I was like, holy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going in there. Too many people for me, but
50 Jurassic Parks in North America.
Is that what it is?
50.
it's crazy.
Think about that.
Well, so should we talk about who we think is going to win, or do you guys just are too superstitious? You don't want to
I'm not
jinx it.
superstitious. He said he wasn't anymore.
Okay, so who do you think's going to win?
I hope Toronto.
Well, you say you hope, but you got to say who do you think's going to win? I hope Toronto wins too.
I think they're going to win.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to come back from 3-1 no matter who you are. I mean,
it's only been done once, and it was by Golden State.
Exactly.
They still have two games left too, right?
Yeah.
Like they're still up one, whereas that game 7's that extra added pressure, right?
If it goes to game 7, I'm not sure what's going to happen. But if they win game 6, it's
over.
It's over.
Well, you know better than anybody in that one game deal could go anyway, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Who do you think?
I think Toronto's I think they're going to win. I'm not a big basketball fan. I don't know much about it. However, I've watched pretty much the whole final or bits and pieces of it, and man, I love it. I'm going to continue to watch, but I think Toronto's going to win based on what I've seen.
I agree with you is that they have to win game 6 in order to win game 7. I would change my answer maybe to Golden State.
Yeah, for sure. More game 7 experience.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, so I was going to ask who do you think is going to win game 7, but obviously you have a biased opinion, so we can't ask you. Who do you think is going to win?
I think St. Louis is going to win.
Do you?
Yep. I'm cheering for my man Bozak.
Don't punch me, but I think Boston's going to win, man. I don't know. I think
that's fine.
I don't know. Just in Boston, and I think Marchand, Bergeron, and Pasternak, they haven't had a good series, and I think this is the game that they're just going to kind of come out and just.
I just think Binnington's going to have his
bounce back.
His first little bit of the season where he started to shine. I think he's going to get that back because I just see it when he interviews and stuff. You can see him, man. He's competitive. He wants to talk about, you know, how they're going to succeed, not what they didn't do and stuff like that, right? Like he's just a gamer, man. He's already tried to get in a couple fights, that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, you look at Boston, they have so much experience, game 7s, you know, all that stuff. And then you look at St. Louis, their whole story in playoffs are winning on the road this year. So, I mean, it's going to be a 1-goal game no matter what happens, I think, tonight.
I agree with that, the 1-goal game. Yeah. It would be a great story coming from last place in the West, coming all the way back and just winning the Stanley Cup.
It's a Vegas-esque story from last year. Yeah. You know, not an expansion team, but still, when you're dead last in the NHL, which means they have won the most since the All-Star break, more than any other team in the league, in order to get where they were.
Yeah.
What do you think the key to that was? You're the guy that's been closest to the organization out of all three of us. What do you think the key to that run was?
I mean, they were all, you know, when I was there, everyone was pretty close, you know, and they're all seemed like great friends, you know, great teammates. And I think it was just a matter of clicking on the ice. Yeah. And, you know, they all bought in, you know, Berube was there, and he was my coach in Traverse City, the little rookie camp that St. Louis is a part of a couple of years back. Yeah. And he's a great coach. He coaches Chicago to I think the conference finals in his first year in the AHL. And, you know, he has experience in the NHL, and he's just the type of guy that will push you, you know. He's a little bit old school in that way, but you know, he gets the best out of everybody. So, you know, I think he brought everyone together in a way that brings everyone's best out to play together.
O'Reilly's a guy that fascinates me on that team. He was great in Colorado is where I really discovered what type of player he was. And when he came to St. Louis, he was already, in my opinion, I think the guy's an all-star, man. He's an all-around great player. Mm-hmm. He's a great player. What did you see? Oh, he's not the captain of the team. Is he an A? Does he have a letter on him?
I don't think, because he was late.
I don't think so, but
is he a leader in the room?
He's definitely, he's a leader on and off the ice. You know, he's one of the nicest guys to me when I was there. You know, he's definitely the hardest worker, I think.
Unconventional.
That's
too.
in my opinion, he's the hardest worker on that team.
Yeah.
He wants it. He works hard every day. He's a great guy on and off the ice. You know, I seen this thing on Twitter yesterday. He was in Boston at a local. He likes to play guitar. He bought a kid a guitar. He was like having a little jam session with him, and ended up buying him a guitar. So like, he's just that type of guy. You know, he has that personality. You know, he's super down to earth, and you know, he's obviously an unbelievable player.
Awesome.
He's been stepping his game up. I find the bigger the stakes, the better he plays.
Well, it's just like that with every player.
Did you ever get an up close look at his curve or ask him about it?
Yeah, you know, we did a lot of wraparound drills, and he'd get the puck up pretty. You know, or little step outs around the net. Yeah. He gets the puck up quick.
Do you think it's because of that little tip at the end of the curve there?
For sure. You know, it gets up quick. You know, that's his whole game around the net.
So I want to ask you something. Then would he do that himself, or could he get that custom made any way he wanted?
No, he definitely got it custom made.
Okay, cool. So I picture him doing like the mini sticks over the stove. You know what I mean? Rigging up his blades.
There's no way he did that for him. I mean, I want to know how he came up with it. Like that'd be a cool story to see. But you know, he definitely gets that done from whichever company he uses.
That's unreal.
Can you talk about the level of care, the difference between the AHL and the NHL when it comes to the equipment managers and things like that? Obviously, you can get anything custom made in the NHL. Maybe you can talk about some like the weirder things you saw at the NHL level.
Yeah, you know, like in the AHL, like they're good to you. You know, they give you what you need. You know, you have all the essentials. You need a new stick, you get a new stick. Then you go to the NHL, and it's literally, you know, 4 pairs of gloves in your stall. You get whatever you want. You just, like in the AHL, you know, East Coast, you have to ask for a new stick. And there's a stick room. You go in there, you grab what you want, you take it out, you start taping it.
So you ask for it, you get it, but it's just not there for you.
And then the reps are always around, like the CCM rep, the Bauer rep, whoever you need is always, you know, on speed dial or close. And then, you know, I got pretty close with the head trainer or head equipment guy in St. Louis. Sorry. When I had through it the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And he's so good at his job, and he has so much respect from all the players. It's one of those things where you respect them, they respect you, you be nice to them, they give you what you need.
Yeah.
So as long as for a player, as long as you're a good guy, this is at any level, as long as you're a good guy, you'll get what you need.
Not even
if
sports.
only society worked like that.
Yeah, if only.
You know?
You said in the AHL you need to ask for a stick. In the NHL, do they just realize that all your sticks are coming down to a short stock and they just reorder them for you? So you don't even have to ask.
You don't run out in sticks there. There's like 40, 50, like just up in your like little cubby in the stick room. It's insane. Like I go up there, I have 24 sticks.
How many sticks do you have at your house right now?
I have 12.
That's exactly. Weird goalie, right?
12. If you wanted to bring home more, could you?
I'm sure I can get some if I needed to.
Like right now?
Yeah. Like if I was down to my last couple of sticks, I can pretty much call, if I wanted to, I can call Bauer directly and get them to send sticks, or then ask my agent who would call whoever and get me some sticks. So
see, we need to take this advice, and the next player that we have on that shoots right, or I guess you shoot left, and then we need to ask for our own sticks.
That's all you
gotta do.
Yeah.
I want the Ryan O'Reilly curve.
I want
seems good for spearing people.
Well, he's not going to be on the podcast anytime soon, so I want I want the Bowers one.
I was going to ask you what your gear brand was or what your go-to one, but then you said Bauer. So
yeah.
Have you always worn Bauer, or were you? Did you just kind of use whatever you were?
That was Reebok CCM. I like the gear, but it was. They care about their high-level guys a lot, and they care about their junior guys a lot too. But it's with. When I started talking to Bauer, my third year junior, they're like, yeah, like here's your, like, whatever you need, you just let us know. We'll send it to you right away. They had a junior guy like always around the Montreal area.
World class.
I had, I'm like, okay, I'll try him out for the summer. Like, send me a pair. He flies down with all the gear, shows up to the rink with me, and then gives me all the gear and said, here you go, let's go.
He doesn't ship it through FedEx.
No, he doesn't ship it. Like
personally comes to you.
He personally comes to the rink. And then
it's badass.
Exactly. From there, I'm like, okay, like that's pretty cool right off the bat. And then I started wearing it. I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like, I like it. Started wearing it. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to switch. Never since. I don't regret it at all. I mean, whatever I need, they send me 3 sets a year, 4 sets a year, whatever I need, as many sticks, whatever type of curves, like whatever I want, they'll send to me.
That's
and
insane.
I'm very special that, or not, I'm not very special. It's a very special, connection I got with Bauer. It's cool. That everyone there are great guys, from top to bottom, the NHL guy, the junior guy, so on and so forth. They're
original, man. They're
exactly.
OGs in the hockey game.
They're great.
Started out as Cooper, and I was going to say, I've noticed I was always like, I don't know, for some reason as a kid, I drew goalie gear and like I was fascinated by goalies, but I just find Bauer's pretty much taken over the game. You know what I mean? Remember that CCM Reebok
Yeah,
era?
there's a time where not many guys wore Bauer.
Yeah.
They came out with their new pads and then it kind of blew up. Now, you know, I see a bunch of little kids wearing it. I see older guys, you know, they have a lot of good goalies who wear Bauer now in the NHL and in all levels. So even, and then overseas, everyone's Bauer for the most part. Yeah. Like I know a lot of the Swedes they start off as Bauer and then, you know, some will transition to CCM when they come to North America, but they wear, you know, there's a lot of Bauer over there, and same with other province or other countries. Sorry.
Is there ever a time where, say, you are in love with the Bauer gear, but you get a sponsorship or something like that? Is there ever a time anyone random, not just you, would like keep one company's gear but just cover it to make it look like their actual gear? Do you know what I mean?
I heard Sid does that because he has Reebok, but I heard he uses Bauer sticks, but they're just covered with Reebok.
Yeah,
that's what I heard that.
I know. I mean, I don't know many people who do that per se, but I know a lot of guys use like a Bauer, or for goalie, let's say the Bauer 2S stick, which is like the lightest stick, but it has like a note, like the back, kind of like a player stick. It's weird. You almost have to see a picture to get it. Mm-hmm. And then, but guys are still like, they're fans of the older sticks they have. So they have the skin, but it'd be the older stick. Yeah. So if you're up close, you can tell, but from a distance, you just think it's a new stick. That's
so cool. Because one thing I know about just like athletes in general is when you find something you like and something that works for you, it's hard for you to get away from it. I remember when we played Junior A, we got a sponsor for the league, so no one was allowed to use their own sticks anymore. You had to use Reeboks or whatever, right? And people just don't like that change. But I
agree. All right, we're coming up on an hour here.
Just like that.
Perfect.
Last minute's yours. I'm sure you got a lot of people to thank. If you want to thank family, friends, us, anyone, you go ahead there.
Nah, I mean, I just appreciate being on. This is you know, it's pretty cool. And,
love it.
You know, I've listened in the past, so it's good.
There you go.
That's awesome. Glad we got a fan.
All right. Well, everyone listening, thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Evan, thanks once again for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
We'll be watching.
We'll be watching for sure. We'll be coming up and watching your games, maybe. Who knows?
Hopefully.
All right. We're out, guys. Thank you very much. Peace.